I did two studies, two national surveys with full-time employees around the country aged 18 to 64. And the reason I think this research is significant is because we're speaking directly to line employees, right? So it's the frontline people who are using their smartphones and being distracted during work. And the reason this is significant is because a strong majority of these people are telling us this is a problem. People being distracted at work by their smartphones. This is a problem that we feel employers need to address. So these are the people that are going to be affected by any policy you'd implement to restrict their phone access at work. And they're saying, we think you should do it. So what I'd like to do is provide you with sort of a framework for thinking about this issue of digital distraction in the workplace and how you might think about addressing it. But the core of the problem of people getting hurt at work as a result of digital distraction or just the risk of it is really the problem of smartphone addiction or tech addiction. I mentioned that it's the content that's addictive, not the device. And there are three basic characteristics of the content that really makes it addictive. And number one is that these apps really appeal to our basic human drives. They provide a gratifying, satisfying, fulfilling way to channel the human energy that we normally channel in the real world, right? It's sort of, the second characteristic is that the content is hyper customized to appeal to your most unique, deepest personal passions and interests. So if you think about any platform that you use, you can customize the settings so that you're basically being delivered content that's really engaging for you, that's hard to walk away from. And at the same time, they're learning your patterns and preferences, and they're pushing that content out to you. And then the third characteristic that makes it addictive, this is really where the tech companies are doing a lot of work to get us addicted. And that's to try to trigger us neurologically, to sort of trigger the reptile brain so that we behave compulsively. It's one thing to have addictive content, and this is sort of the crux of the problem with people being distracted in the workplace, right? You can have addictive content, but if you have natural limits on your ability to access it, it's not going to be as much of a problem. If you look at the second term in that equation, people can do that now. They have this addictive content that they access through their phones, and they have 24/7 access from any location to the content. There are no restrictions at all on their ability to access the content. So this is the crux of the problem. As a result, they are just continuously online all day. That's the problem. With everything they're doing in the real world, right? They are simultaneously, continuously accessing this entertainment, social, fun, enjoyable content throughout the day. And that's where it comes to be a problem in the workplace. They can't stop themselves at work. This was from a survey that Career Builder did in 2017. And they listed, this was a survey of about 5,000 people, full-time employees. And they basically found that these were the top 5 workplace distractions in 2017. And you can see 4 out of 5 of them have to do with personal use of technology at work. Cell phone, texting, the internet, social media, and email. This is from one of our surveys, and we asked people to tell us when employees are, distracted at work on their phones, what are they using? And 74% said the main thing is social media. Everything else paled in comparison. So social media is one of the big distractions at work. I would argue you could probably group texting under that. I feel like texting has become a form of social media today, especially with group texting. And here's a way to sort of tally what's the national cost of this, right? In terms of, in the United States, how many hours a day are lost to digital distraction at work? And if you look at the numbers, we have about 129 million full-time employees in the U.S. If we take those numbers, they're spending about an hour and a half each day distracted on their phones. That means on a daily basis, we're losing about 193 million hours in our workforce to distraction during work hours. So you see that more time people report they spend on their phone at work, the higher incidence of injury due to smartphone distraction at their workplace, which I believe suggests something about the environment at the work. I think it's basically saying that in an environment where it's okay to spend a lot of time on your phone, where it's not monitored and not deterred in any way, you're going to have more accidents. These are, I just have a few quotes here that exemplify this problem further, these risks. So this is from one of our surveys. These are quotes, people saying, these are issues that came up. A person was texting on the phone and almost walked out in front of a high school. We had a prep supervisor who was on his phone, and as a result, 2,000 pounds of product spilled everywhere, and it cost the company $100,000. So obviously, he didn't say someone was hurt, but clearly an accident of that scale, of that magnitude, could have resulted in injury. It's a safety risk. This was a big one. The person was playing games on their phone, and a big manufacturing machine went awry, and a part flew out of it into a different area. The person was not watching the gauges because they were on their phone, and it was a big expense to fix the machine, and the part could have hurt someone or damaged another piece of machinery. But the last point I want to make before I get to sort of an outline of proposed solutions is that I feel that you should, people in industry should really feel emboldened by some of the data I'm about to present, because as I said before, it shows that employees themselves, the people who would be affected by this, if you implemented a policy restricting phone use, the employees themselves are basically saying it's a good idea and they think it should be done. In a way, a lot of them are saying, I need help. I can't control this, and I really wish someone would help it work. So over and over again, I think you're seeing the picture here, right? They're not everyone, but a strong majority, these numbers that are over 60% are acknowledging it's a problem. I'm completely open to solutions. And I wish you would do something about it, because I can't. Establish a written policy restricting phone use. And actually, if you research this issue online, you'll find that a lot of attorneys have actually written articles about this. And they all suggest that you have a written policy because they say it puts you at much greater risk. In other words, if you can't prove that you've engaged your employees around this issue and they have an accident, whether it's driving out somewhere on a construction site or in a warehouse or a factory, you're going to be at much greater risk legally and financially if you cannot prove that you let your employees know that they were not allowed to use their phones for personal reasons at work.